Restoring relationships is going to take 4 things. Number 1, meaningful relationship is built on intimacy. Number 2, good relationships can resolve conflict. Number 3, stable relationships rise above sensitivity. And number 4, enduring relationships require forgiveness. Relationships are a lot of work, and this kind of illustrates that. But let's talk about the first one. It says that meaningful relationships require intimacy. See, if I was to ask you what your basic human needs are, you would say things like water, air, shelter, food. I can live on those things. The fact of the matter is, you can live for a while on those things, but we actually have a profound need for relationship and, in fact, intimacy. And without a certain level of intimacy, you can't live, and you can't live long. And we know this because in 1990, the Iron Curtain came down, and we found and discovered these pictures and videos of these orphanages in Romania that were institutional orphanages with hundreds of kids in cribs. And they had all their basic needs. They had food, they had water, they had shelter, they had air. But the mortality rate was 40%. And they discovered that the reason these children were dying in these orphanages is because they did not have human affection. And we have this need for it, and we actually have a need not just for relationship, but for a certain level of intimacy, and we're hardwired for it. I'm talking about just a closeness, and you can't have closeness with every human being, but you have to have a few people in your world, in your life, that you have some level of intimacy with. When we look at Jesus' disciples, you know what? This was an experiment of human conflict. Not only did he go on a camping trip, but he took this incredibly diverse group of men. Now, I know we had 6 of them were fishermen. We know that. They were 3 sets of brothers, and they knew each other from the Sea of Galilee. But the rest of these guys, they were a piece of work. You've got Simon the Zealot and Matthew the tax collector. You could not be more diametrically opposed. Simon the Zealot was fighting against the Roman occupation. Matthew the tax collector was collecting taxes from his own people to give it to the Romans. Those 2 men would have hated each other. And then you had Judas, the thief, the Bible tells us, the Gospels tell us. Everybody hated Judas. And what Jesus did was he thrust these men into this close relationship, and he made them work through their differences. And you see lots of conflict. Remember, they were arguing about who's going to sit in the right hand and the left, and who's going to be the greatest, and all these things. And Jesus was unflappable about it, and he just made them work it out so that they could get to the other side, where they became this group of men that would defend one another's life with their own life.